Welcome, man. Awesome to have you here and have this conversation with you. How's Permissionless? How you been enjoying it?
It's been great so far, man. I haven't gotten to really enjoy as much of the main stage content as I'd like. I think I had a front row seat for day one, and got to listen to Marinade chat a little bit about the unintended consequences of ETFs, which was particularly relevant for us over at DFDV. But yeah, the rest has been just meeting folks back to back.
Nice, man. I want to talk about DFDV with you today. DeFi Dev Corp, right? Right? Okay. Before we do, tell us a little bit about yourself. I'm sure people would love to know a little bit about your story, maybe what kind of led you into Web3. Everyone's got an interesting story, I think, because it's such a non-traditional industry. What kind of piqued your interest and made you want to be a part of the space?
Yeah, for me, so I guess I personally got involved in crypto back in 2013. One of my best friends in high school who we actually met in AP economics class, and that irony is not lost upon me, had told me about Bitcoin, and I bought it for the first time then, traded it very poorly, like a lot of folks back in that day. So I wouldn't say that that was really my deep dive entry point, but I certainly got into it probably in the 2017 cycle with ICOs, and sort of did a deep dive on Ethereum at the time, and I would probably say that my interest in crypto initially was more academic. I was a math major in college, so for me, the idea of having like numbers and code really underpinning financial systems is intriguing. But pretty recently, during my last, call it 3 years, while I was working at Kraken Crypto Exchange, I would say, more ideologically aligned with crypto. So one of the things I used to share with Krakenites for their like strategy onboarding, which I was running at the time, was this graph of the money supply. And effectively, you just looked at it from 2006 all the way to today, obviously, like just up and to the right with crazy fiat devaluation. And for me, this idea of crypto being an escape from central bank manipulation became a really compelling idea for me. So I would say that's probably where a lot of my motivations have been in recent years, this idea of like helping individuals break free from the constraints of that financial system. And, DeFi Dev Corp is a Solana treasury vehicle trying to accumulate as much SOL as possible. So the idea of helping folks get a fast lane or one-way ticket to more crypto exposure seemed very compelling.
Tell me a bit more about DeFi Dev Corp. Like, what are you guys, I guess, aiming to do? Like, what's your core mission, your ethos? Like, what do you want to kind of achieve right now?
Yeah, so DeFi Dev Corp is the leading Solana treasury vehicle by both regular and diluted market cap in the US. We are also the first one in the US to announce a Solana treasury strategy. I used to really describe ourselves as MicroStrategy 2.0, MicroStrategy Plus, or MicroStrategy for SOL. I've drifted away from that pretty recently because since we sort of, I like to say we kicked off the craze in early April, but it really feels like a lot of other folks have come out trying to say, hey, we're also going to copy the MicroStrategy playbook. So I've really been leaning into what I think was really the vision from day one, which is becoming this on-chain to TradFi bridge. And what that means is effectively trying to bring a lot of the innovations that you see on-chain into TradFi, and trying to bring TradFi capital on-chain and into DeFi. So I think that probably more aptly describes what it is that we're trying to do, all in service of what our North Star KPI is, which is growing Solana on a per share basis. So one of the things that I think really differentiates DeFi Dev Corp is we're not just trying to grow the absolute balance of Solana on the balance sheet, but make sure that every individual shareholder in DeFi Dev Corp is getting more SOL on a per share basis over time. And, since we've made our first Solana purchase, to date, we've actually grown our Solana per share 40x. And hope that we're able to continue that pace in the future.
So you're buying a lot of SOL, essentially.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. I want to ask you about DeFi. I think it's very fascinating, kind of the evolution of it and how Ethereum was like the main place that it kind of really started and cropped up for the first time. And then very quickly it became a very big sensation on Solana, and Solana ecosystem became such a good fit for it. Now we live in a world where you can even do BitFi on DeFi on Bitcoin, BitcoinFi, and all these coin terms. It's quite interesting how the industry has shaped up and how DeFi has kind of adapted. I'm curious, like, what you think about something like BitcoinFi, and is that something that's viable? Is DeFi better off on a chain like Solana? I'm sure that you probably have a bit of a biased answer to it, but I'm kind of just curious your thoughts on it because it's such an interesting part of this ecosystem that has really shifted in many different ways.
Yeah, it's a good question. And I mean, it actually kind of hits a little bit on one of the reasons why we chose Solana as our core underlying asset, which is this idea that you can earn native yield in Sol. So one of the interesting things going on with the, I would say, crypto treasury craze more broadly is that you have a lot of the, let's say, Bitcoin treasury vehicles all kind of chasing the same MSTR playbook, which is they are tapping the capital markets, taking advantage of what they call capturing the spread, which is the multiple that they trade at relative to their net asset value, and raising either a ton of equity or convertible debt. And what's interesting about that is I think all of those vehicles are effectively trying to compete just via the capital markets playbook, which means that the way you differentiate is maybe by taking on more leverage or things like that. So one of the cool parts about doing this with a proof of stake asset like Solana are all these, I'm going to say, businesses and innovations that you can sort of build around the underlying asset. So for us, we operate, a couple of validators in-house, and that essentially actually frees us from the capital markets restrictions that a lot of these other crypto treasury vehicles have today. So in theory, what I've been telling folks is, we wouldn't have to raise a single cent of capital ever again, and we could still keep growing our underlying Solana per share just by virtue of having our own, in-house validators. And that's pretty powerful because obviously when you enter a bear market in crypto, the capital markets are probably going to be more restrictive than they are today for a lot of these vehicles. So it's important to have that really good engine sort of like underpinning your business. As far as like DeFi and other ecosystems, I mean, look, one of the things that really compelled me to Solana more broadly was actually meme coins, and I think Solana sometimes gets a bad rep because it's like, oh well, if you extract out the meme coin stuff, like there's not much really going on under the hood. And for me, I sort of saw the meme coin craze as really like the best test case for everything that you could do on Solana. Our COO Parker White. I credit him for this example, but I remember when I was first joining the company, he said, hey, you know that when the Trump meme coin craze was going on, the amount of volume that was done on Sol would have been enough to take down Binance, Kraken, Coinbase. Like none of the centralized exchanges would have been able to handle that. And there were some hiccups on Solana, but for the most part, it really held its own. And I think just the fact that like test case exists is a testament to all the things that I think you can really do in the Solana ecosystem. And the stat I give people a lot on things like superior transactions per second, for example, right? I think the theoretical upper bound for Solana is somewhere around like 65,000 TPS. That's on par with Visa, right? When you consider Bitcoin, which is on average like 7, right? And yes, there are like layer 2 solutions, Bitcoin layer 2s that are trying to address these things. But, I think at the end of the day, you want to go where the action is. And, that's obviously happening on Solana. And you want to go where there's just a lot of the technical superiority and innovation.
Absolutely. And I think meme coins are actually a fantastic test case for any chain that's out there. And you can see that with Solana. You can see that in the TVL, the volume, the amount of activity. It's quite interesting when you see that happen on different chains, like how those chains like respond to them. Because like you mentioned, like if that happened on Coinbase or that happened on Binance, it might have went down because it's not going to be able to handle it. So meme coins, they have their place. They're very community driven and everyone has their own opinions about them. But I think they're fantastic test cases because they drive so much liquidity so fast and so much volatility. You really get like a good system check on like what you're doing in your chain and the ecosystem you're in. So I think that's fantastic. what are you doing here at Permissionless? What's your goal while you're here? Are you just connecting with more people, looking for partnerships, networking? What's kind of the objective?
Yeah, I think it's all of the above. I mean, look, first and foremost, as the IR guy at DeFi Dev Corp, my job is to make sure that our story is getting out there to both institutional and retail investors alike. So, I think to the extent that I'm able to meet with a bunch of individuals and just get more of our narrative. Better understood by the market. That's going to be a positive. But end of the day, I just like really love learning about all the stuff that's going on in crypto too. So it's a cool event to obviously come and just absorb and learn. I think the other piece too is when you go and you're involved in a space like this and these like little side conversations happen like by water coolers and over coffee. You meet like unexpected people along the way, and we're obviously pretty aggressive on the partnership front as well. We announced yesterday a partnership with WIF, for example, and we've announced a number of partnerships in recent weeks across the Solana ecosystem. And I think those things are, made even more possible by going to events like this and just like getting to learn about what everyone is working on and, making random conversations.
Absolutely. It's always the talks I find the least interesting, and I know they put so much time and effort into, and it's appreciated. But it's those small conversations, like you said, by the water cooler, under the tent, around the corner, behind the door, and I had a whole bunch of them just in the last 2 days. And I think it's fantastic. It's the best way to really meet people and connect on a deeper level and understand and really find alpha in the space. And I think the best things happen in those small moments. So definitely enjoy that about Permissionless as well. And a lot of the conferences I go to in this space. Where can people go to learn more about what you guys are doing with DeFi Dev Corp? Do you guys have a website, socials? Do you have a community, or where would you send people?
Yeah, DeFiDevCorp.com is a good place to start. We've got sort of all our key metrics on there. Obviously follow us on Twitter as well. X.com/DeFiDevCorp. We've got our DFDV intern account as well. And as I tell people, that is not affiliated with DeFi Dev Corp. That guy's just completely off the rocker, off the chain. But you get some interesting content there as well. And then myself, I'm crypto IR guy, and you can obviously reach out to me directly as well. We love chatting with our retail investors. You can email us at ir@defidevcorp.com or my email dk@defidevcorp.com. We've got a lot of, I would say, like good content and podcasts and interviews we've been doing in recent weeks to help like introduce our story. So to the extent that people want to go and check those out, I would also highly recommend it.
Excellent. Want to finish this off with a quick rapid fire session just for fun, a couple easy questions. I'll ask you, just give me what's off the top of your head in a short response, and I think you'll like it. So the first one is, what is your favorite Web3 personality in the space right now?
I have to say my favorite personality in the space right now is probably our intern. Actually, I'm going to go with the DFD intern plug over here. Is just very very good with the memes and content.
What's your favorite Web3 project, startup, company, other than you guys?
I would say, look, I mean, by virtue of being in Solana, I've actually been trying to dive very deeply into what Anza has been working on. Obviously, with their announcement of Alpenglow a few weeks ago at Accelerate, I've been trying to sort of like peel back and really understand the white paper there a lot. So, and one of my good friends is also a developer over at the Solana Foundation. So he was like, you just have to go and like check out what these guys have worked on. And so I would say I've been trying to read up on a lot of Anza's research recently.
What do you think about alt season 2025? Is it still on the table, or are we past it at this point?
No, it is absolutely still on the table. One of the interesting things is that Bitcoin has made new all-time highs this cycle at like really record low volatility, but obviously the alts have not held up their pace relative to what I thought we would be at. So I certainly think we're still due.
Very interesting. Last one. What do you think the theme is for this summer? Is it stablecoins, decentralized AI, something else? There's a lot of things floating around right now.
Yeah, Man, I hate that stablecoins have actually become a theme. It's so I'm hoping we can shift away from that narrative. Look, I actually think crypto treasury vehicles have obviously been taking a lot of attention, and I hope that the good ones can really show what's possible from an accumulation standpoint. As I like to say, if MicroStrategy showed what's possible, DeFi Dev Corp is here to show them what's next. So, to the extent that these vehicles are well run, I think that they're going to be call it like new and innovative way for folks to get more exposure to the underlying asset or assets, whatever it is that they're bullish on.
Awesome, man. Appreciate you taking the time today. Really good conversation. I love what you guys are doing with DeFi Dev Corp. Keep it up. Keep buying Solana. I'm sure that's good for the ecosystem as well. And keep me posted on everything that's happening and more developments, more projects, companies maybe that you're seeing or that you're working with. Would love to do another episode here in the near future, hopefully in person as well, or in the studio that we're going to open up in Vegas. So keep in touch.
Cool, man. Thanks for having me. This is great.